Okay, when I first proposed the idea of like a video pen pal, or just becoming a pen pal at all, the goal was to, I didn't want somebody from America. I don't need to learn about New Mexico. I've been there, know it. So I was really hoping for somebody from another country. And I was so happy when, a Canadian answered, and it's interesting. But you're the worst Canadian ever. You haven't apologized for anything. You haven't said, A, ain't called anybody a hoser. You don't like hockey. Don't like snow. You're from Florida, aren't you? I'm being catfished. I feel it. See, I expected the first thing out of a Canadian's mouth be like, I'm sorry for Justin Bieber, eh? He's a real hoser. None of it. Oh well, I'll make do. See, as a American, I'm filming baseball. If I had some apple pie, it'd be perfect. I guess TVs and movies lied to me. Couple of things. I obviously just kidding. Couple of things I want to touch on about your last video. One, you're talking about getting a driver's license and getting a second car. Growing up in the country, we don't have public transportation really. I mean, there's no cabs within, I think Fort Smith has one and it's 45 minutes from me. But so we always had a vehicle. I had a motorcycle that I rode back and forth to school when I was probably 11, 10, ever since then. And when I was about 13, I had a motorcycle license. They actually passed the law where you could get a motorcycle license under a small enough bike. So I had one, but we have the kind of a graduated, similar to what you talked about. What we have is at 14 you can get what's called a learner's permit, which allows you to drive with a licensed driver. Then at 16 you get you retest and get a full-blown driver's license. There's some restrictions, like you can't have minors in the car, but generally at 16 you get a full-blown license. And so I've always had I know at 16 I got a car, which is funny enough, my first car was a 73 Mach 1 Mustang. It was early 70s, late 60s, a muscle car, a big engine. The engine came from that year Ford made three types of engines to put in those cars. Generally they were a Cleveland model that was made in Cleveland, Ohio, one that was modified, and one that was from Windsor. Mine actually had a Windsor. So when you talked about Windsor, I'm like, I actually know where that's at because I looked it up because of that car. But anyway, my first car was a 73 Mach 1 Mustang, and I drove it till I went to college. By then I got a pickup, and I parked that car at my dad's house, and I went to college. Well, after a couple of years, came back, and I was like, hey, where's that car? My dad's like, well, I sold it. He said, you didn't drive it anymore, didn't figure you want it, so I sold it. It's a little tore up, it was my first car, sentimental value and all that. And I always wanted another. Well, skip forward 18 years, and I found one. I found one for sale. It needed some little bit of work, but it was drivable. I bought it, and I really didn't drive it. I did a little bit of work on it, not enough that it was perfect. And I finally, last Christmas, I have a grandson he's 3 now, but he was 2 at the time. And his dad, who's an engineer, wanted an old car to really fix up. I said, well, I'll give this one to my grandson, Arthur. I said, you fix it up, you drive it, do what you want, but when he turns 16, let him have it. So I gave it to him. Now, I started this job, and a lot of it's driving around. You see, I'm usually driving around. And I'm out in the middle of nowhere. And I see a car, a 73 Mustang. And I thought, man, that's the same color as my first one. Then I drove by and I looked and I said, hey, it even has the pinstripes like mine. I said, no, those pinstripes were not factory. I'm like, there's no chance. So I turn around, go back. There is my car, my first car. Now, see, I guess my dad sold it in about 90, somewhere around in 1990. So I looked, I took pictures of it inside out. I mean, it's my car. I can tell you everything about it. And I went to the guy's house a couple of times. He was never there. And I finally caught him one day, him and his daughter, out there working in the shop, and I was asking about it. He said he bought it a couple of towns over from mine, from where I live, back in '96. And he said the guy said that it was driving when I bought it. He said, but I brought it here, parked it, I never could get it to run, to start. So it's been sitting there for over 30 years. Well, no, from 96 to 2019, so 20, don't make me do math, that long. And it's bad shape, you know, it's been sitting out in the elements all those years, but he actually quoted me a price on it, and I was trying to get my wife. I'm like, hey, I need this money, I'm gonna buy this. She's like, what are you gonna do with it? I'm like, be buried in it. It's like, I don't care if it ever runs, I just want it for sentimental value. But I can't imagine not having a car. I've always had one. Oddly enough, I got that car in '86 when I turned 16, and it was a 13-year-old Mustang. My son, he wanted a pickup, so I get a pickup and everything. Or actually, I'm working fixing an old one. Then when he gets close to his 16th birthday, he said, I really want a car. I want a Mustang. I was like, okay. So we found one that he wanted. He found one he wanted, and it was a 2005 Mustang, and this was last year. So my first car was a 13-year-old Mustang. His first car was a 13-year-old Mustang. Kismet, I guess. Although I did used to have a Jeep briefly back in about '89, I guess. I briefly had a Jeep. It was an old Jeep that people had used. It was a beater. It was meant to go off-road, and those things were never meant for teenagers to drive them. Good Lord, the abuse we put that Jeep through. But it was fun. Not coffee. I never cared for Monster drinks, but I recently started training a guy that's been going around with me, or he went for about 2 months around with me, and he drinks those things constantly. And every time he'd go in the store and get one, hey, I got you one. Okay, now he's kind of got me accustomed to the taste, I guess you could say, or at least liking it. Just a minute ago, it's my oldest daughter, Ashley, her birthday. That will come back into the story. So I go to the grocery store Saturday, Sunday, something like that, and there's a sign posted up. They are having a get-together, a Bigfoot meeting. People to talk about, hunt for big, I don't know. But it's a meeting of Bigfoot enthusiasts at a Mexican restaurant. And they have novelties, t-shirts, hats, and all these things you can buy there. And I email or text all my daughters, my son, all my kids there. Said, we gotta go do this. And all of them was like, that's a hard no. It's like, I can't even. He said, if you go, take pictures. I want to see who's there. I want to see what kind of people at this Bigfoot meeting. So that's tonight. So today's my daughter's birthday. So I just called her a while ago. I said, happy birthday. I was like, hey, let me take you out to eat tonight. She said, oh, that'd be great. I said, so how about Mexican food, 6 o'clock? She's like, oh, we are not going to a Bigfoot meeting. She's like, but while you're there, give me a shirt. It's like, nope, you gotta go earn that shirt. So I can't get any of them to go. I even tried my wife. People got no spirit of adventure. I want to see a Bigfoot meeting. You're talking about working at Starbucks. I got weird mixed feelings about Starbucks. They have some good coffee, but it's just coffee. It should not be a $12 coffee, you know. And their business model annoys me to no end. If you have 5 tables, there shouldn't be 5 people, each one by themselves at a table with a laptop and an empty cup. You shouldn't be able to come in, order the cheapest coffee, and sit there all day using free Wi-Fi. It kind of discourages other people from really coming in. Of course, it seems to be their drive-through is their biggest selling point, because that's always full. But it really discourages people from coming in, because I've never been in one where there's more than one empty table. So I guess it's working for them. It just annoys me. Although I went there the other day, or last week, one of the girls in the office, she said, man, I would love some Starbucks. And there's one just a block and a half from our office. I said, you know what, I just want to get out of here, so I'll go get you one. It's okay. Well, she gave me her debit card. I go down there, and they asked for your name, as I'm sure you know. And since they were going to put it on the cup, I didn't want my name. I said, Jessica. He said, okay. So he put in Jessica. I'm standing there, and of course it's busy. Everybody's sitting at the table, so everybody that's trying to order coffee are just standing around because there's no place to sit. And I kept track of the people that were in front of me, and I knew mine was coming up. And this guy said, Jessica. And I was positioning myself standing right there by the counter. I said, what name did you say? He said, Jessica. I'm like, yeah, I'm Jessica. And I grabbed it and I was heading out the door. The whole time he said, hey. So I'm pretty sure that guy thinks I just stole a coffee. It's one of those things I always tell people, and I'm glad I don't work with me. Let's see. I'm trying to remember. This video will probably be cut up into chunks today, because right now I'm really just waiting on a phone call I got to meet weirdly enough, the guy that got me hooked on these stupid monsters for lunch. We're going to go to a sports bar and grill and have moonshine chicken wings. See, now, you're not liking hockey. Seems very un-Canadian. I live out down here in the Ozark Mountain area. Moonshine. We put moonshine on everything. I'd like to say that wasn't true, but I actually know so many people that have or make moonshine. And I just noticed the first video I made was like Monday. I just realized we're in the same shirt. Kind of bothered me, almost like I'm gonna go buy another shirt before I make this video, but it was days ago. Just have to excuse my wardrobe. And I know there was more I was going to address. I'll have to rewatch your video because it was long. I was impressed. I know it took a long time. You know, you said something about how long it took to upload and process. And I thought, watch, all this time it's going to be like a 2-minute video. I have noticed that each one of ours has gotten longer. It's kind of fun because, you know, we even addressed it. I would never write as much stuff as we go over the videos because it's just so easier for that free flow. Although back to the driving, you know, like I said, I've never lived in a place that public transportation, or never really used public transportation. Always having a vehicle, and I know American culture is so ingrained, their vehicles so tied to our culture and our identity. Where in Australia they have walkabouts, or I guess that used to be a thing they have where they would just go out and kind of discover themselves type thing. And every couple of years I will actually do a drive about America. We don't walk. And last February I did, and literally I had the time off, got in the car, took off, and have an app on my phone where all my kids are on it and we can see where each other's at. But apparently there was quite the discussion and bets going on between my daughters about where I was actually going and where I was going to end up. But I ended up going through, let's see, Arkansas, Tennessee, Virginia, Washington, D.C., Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Missouri, back to Arkansas. Just no goal, just went and saw some sights. Sounds like you pull up behind me there. And basically just did a drive. So I can't imagine not ever having to rely on borrowing a car, checking bus schedules, things like that. Okay, this will be part one of this video. Since somebody behind me, I'm feeling kind of weird now. So I'll get back to you in a minute. Okay, to continue about my walkabout. This year, back in February, my son decided he wanted to go with me. So he went with me, and we went out to we went to Washington D.C. and went to the National Mall, saw the White House, the Washington Monument, the reflecting pool. I don't know how well you keep up with America, but they're anyway. And we went to the Lincoln Memorial. And the Lincoln Memorial has the big statue of Abraham Lincoln, and you walk up quite a few steps to get there. And my son had just recently watched the Rocky movies, got into the whole Rocky saga, and we're walking up those steps. He's like, "Hey, is this the steps that Rocky ran up?" I said, "No." I started thinking. Well, after we left, he actually took a nap, went to sleep in the car. Well, we went to eat, then he went to sleep in the car. But anyway, I thought, okay, I'm gonna surprise him. So I drove to Philadelphia and parked in front of the Philadelphia Natural Museum or whatever it is. Stopped there. I said, "Hey, those are the steps that Rocky ran up." He said, "Oh, so they are in D.C." I'm like, "Dude, we went through like 4 states. Actually, we went through Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey, and into Pennsylvania." Yeah, while you were sleeping. So we did the Rocky thing, ran up the stairs. And I actually have a little map with little stickers that you fill in. It's meant to go like on an RV to keep track of what states you went in. And I took it and I'd fill it in every time we crossed a different state. And of the 50 states, I've been in 37, 38 of them, I believe. I actually was going to go through like 6 more up there, but because he was with me and he was just tired of driving, he didn't. Actually, if he hadn't have been with me, I would have went through Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, all these ones, up through Maine and crossed over the Great Lakes through the top of Canada, or top of Canada, the bottom of Canada, over the top of the Great Lakes and come down through Wisconsin, things like that. But he didn't have a passport, so we didn't go. Although I guess technically I've been in Canada once. We went to Niagara Falls several years ago, and I guess on that Maid of the Mist, I think the border is right in the middle of that river, so it's back. You probably technically crossed into Canada. That was interesting. So we're at Niagara Falls, and they have that Maid of the Mist boat ride. And I always figured, oh yeah, they give you the little ponchos to wear, the little plastic things that, yeah, you're going to get a little wet, sure. It's a mist. So we did it. And we're on this boat, and the boats are double-decker, and I'm on the top deck. And somehow got separated. My wife and son, they were on the bottom deck, and I was at the top. And it was just me and this entire deck full of Chinese tourists. The beauty of it is I could see great because I literally could look over the heads of everybody there. So, again, I'm thinking, okay, we're going to get a little misty. I'm convinced we drove through those falls. Just soaking wet. I mean, it's just pelting you. I'm like, I wish my shower had as much pressure as I'm getting right now. So, we kind of pull back and get out of it, and I'm soaking wet. And I'm like, dadgum. It takes like 10, 15 minutes to get back to the dock to get off the boat. During that time, and I know this sounds bad, don't mean to be racist, I just don't understand your language, but all the way back, all I heard was ching 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 ching, dadgum. It's an entire group of Chinese tourists just laughing, making fun of dadgum. I know somewhere in China there's a village where they talk about the redneck at Niagara Falls. To make it worse, like the next year we went out to Royal Gorge and big bridge overlooking a gorge, weirdly enough, and it's a big tourist area. And we're sitting there looking over it, you know, I'm just minding my own business. I look to the side of me, and there's about 7 or 8 Chinese people. I turned to Lisa and I said, if one of them says dadgum, I'm throwing every one of them off this bridge. I'm convinced they follow me around from monument to monument now to make fun of me. But that's as close as I got to Canada. So, like I said, technically, I think that because the map shows the border runs right through that river, so you go from side to side. So I guess technically I've been in Canada. Oh, food. We were talking about cooking food. For a while, and I'm going to get back to it probably after the holidays. When I was doing a lot of cooking, I had a lot more time. Actually, I just seem to make time. It seems like it's important you make time. But I find a country's national dish. It's kind of more like what the country, a Wikipedia national dish, and they have a list of them, you know. And I made the national dish from I'm thinking about 6 or 7 countries there. Like Armenia, I made a Russian, Brazilian, China, big ones there, but a couple of Eastern European ones. Like I said, I know Armenia was one, Greece, I think Romania, quite a few of them, these national dishes. And that was really neat because these are things that, you know, you want to learn how to make rosemary chicken. Yeah, okay. But when you're making things, I had to find a Irish grocery store at one point, and I found one in Kansas City, which is about a 6-hour drive from me. And it's like, okay, we got to go to Kansas City. It's a great place to go anyway. It's a really neat town. But when we went there, I'm like, there's an Irish grocery store. I need to pick up some stuff while I'm there, because I have a huge Irish cookbook. And we went there, and the grocery store, it's not a grocery store. It's kind of what you see in movies, the little neighborhood market in the middle of a brownstone building in downtown New York. That's kind of what it was. It's like an old house type thing. But I go there, I'm like so excited. This is the list of things I got to get that's in this cookbook that's not sold around me. And we go there, there's a note on the door, they have gone for vacation. It ended up a couple months or 6 months, a year later, we went back and they were open. I actually got to go and pick up some stuff. But I'm going to get back to that. It was really neat, these dishes. Like I said, their national dish sounds wrong. For example, Russia, it was they kind of call it a snack, and I can't pronounce it. It starts with a P. But it's meat stuffed in a pastry, deep fried. It's really good. Because I always said I don't want to learn how to make, really good fried chicken. I want to make a dish that's complicated, and of course that wasn't complicated, but it was obviously different than what we normally have. So I need to get that going again. Kind of got sidetracked. Now you were talking about crafting. No, I don't have a Cricut. I actually have a Silhouette, which when I was looking at them back and forth, which one do I want? When I first got interested in it, my daughter loaned me a Cricut, and it was like one of the first generation Cricuts. Basically each cartridge could only make certain shapes, you had to buy each individual fonts and things like that. And those are nothing but plotters. And I've seen big industrial plotters back when I used to do IT, working in places. And I wanted something where you more freeform. And like the first or second generation Cricuts, they were very limited what they could make. So I didn't really have an interest in that. Well, by the time I got around to getting one, and I'm really looking at them, a lady I worked with, she had a Silhouette, and she was talking about it, and she was telling me it. And actually, my daughter, whose birthday is today, she worked at the library that they used to cricket a lot. She said, no, it's no longer like that. You can basically make anything you want. Well, this girl was telling me about the silhouette, and I'm like, really, they're kind of apples to apples. What really drove me away from the silhouette or away from the cricket, is their software is online. Everything is done online, which it's good if you want to back up your projects, but living in the country, our internet is spotty, to say the least. So, I mean, it's not great. So, and I like the idea of being offline to do it without having to rely on online. So that's kind of what really sold me on the silhouette. I have a great picture I'm going to have to show you some point that I actually decorated mine. It turned out really well. I'm really proud of it. But yeah, craft stuff like that. You talking about doing the cups, glasses with the glitter and the epoxy. You said you put the epoxy on and then put the vinyl. I thought it was the other way around. See, I've been wanting to try that, but I haven't done a lot of research on it. I figured that you put the vinyl on, then put the epoxy over the top of it to keep them from, dishwasher washing off, something like that. So I'm gonna have to do some more research, because my wife wants me to decorate those in like some coffee cups, I guess Christmas. So I'm gonna have to learn them. I just got the vinyl recently. Well, since I've been at this job, and I've only been at this job since March, so not that long. And I'm having fun with it. I like it. I like it a lot. The same way with the screen printing. It is really neat. It's one of those things that it'd be fun to do full time, but if you do it full time, then it becomes a job, and do you really like it then? So okay, so apparently this ends part 2, and I will continue. I'm back again. Went and had lunch, American lunch, steak, baked potato, sweet tea, Southern, and I realized I missed a golden opportunity. The guy I went with, he ordered French fries. I'm like, oh, perfect! I'm gonna borrow some of your fries. I'm gonna try some mayonnaise with them. And I asked the waiter for some mayonnaise. Looked at me like I was an idiot. Yeah, apparently you can get mayonnaise at a steakhouse. I noticed, I was rewatching your video, and noticed that you asked about if I ever tried deep frying turkey. Yeah, we did that one year. My father-in-law moved in. He was from Missouri, and I owned a bunch of land, and I moved a house in for him. And actually, I moved a house in for one of my daughters. Then she got better financially, and everything got going. She moved out, so I had a house, and he moved into it. So anyway, he lives a couple doors down from me, and he bought a fryer, and he wanted to do it. So one Thanksgiving, we deep fried a turkey. I liked it. It's better than I thought it was going to be, honestly. But one year, and he's big on things like that, and he gave me a smoker. So one year we smoked all of our meat, smoked turkey, brisket, just like a herd of animals had to die for that Thanksgiving. Okay, I kind of told you stories to give you an idea, but your Fitbit going off on your video inspired me. See, I have a Fitbit too. It may surprise you. I have not always been the chiseled Adonis you see before you now. I'm waiting for the laughter to die. Okay. Now I was working in a hospital, and they have those scales that you stand on, the patients stand on. And I'm sitting out there one day, and I've stepped on them several times, and I always thought, well, yeah, that number is high, but I probably got like 60 pounds of clothing on, obviously. Stethoscope, and that thing's got to weigh, 12 pounds. I got this thick watch. So I didn't really pay much attention to it. Then I was on it one day, I thought, yeah, it's high. But we were at Walmart, and I'll circle back to Walmart. It actually bought a bathroom scale. I tried that. I was like, oh my God, that's accurate. So I got a Fitbit, signed up for My Fitness Pal, the app, got a couple more apps, and really and just started paying attention to what I ate. And I ended up dropping about 40 pounds, 40 plus pounds. Did good, felt better, just amazing. And then kind of slipped off the wagon, ended up probably gained 15 of it back. So just recently I've gotten back on the horse to, try to improve myself. See, I have depth. I'm just not the butthead, annoying barista, preconceived ideas of all Canadians, legend in Chinese folklore. See, I have depth. Yeah. But so I'm actually out here at a park while the weather's still nice. I'm trying to do some, just actually get out and about. My wife, same way. She realized getting older, got to take better care of ourselves. And we'd find that we'd work on weekends. We'd come home, TV. That's about it. Sit in the house and, man, I worked all week. I don't want to do anything this weekend. So now we make an effort to actually get out, find something. Festivals, those farmers markets, those festivals, soap, things like that. Love things like that. Anything just motivation to get us out of the house. Talk about, road trips. We were going to the mountain, one of the mountains, just to go walk around, and had a couple kids with us, and an Elvis song came on. We stopped. I was talking about Elvis. Of course, little kids, they had no idea. So we actually, okay, drove for 3 hours out to Memphis, Tennessee, Graceland, home of Elvis. We went out there, toured that, just to get us out of the house, get us motivated. Walmart. I live in Arkansas, home of Walmart. I don't know how prominent they are in Canada. Here, they are life. Okay. Like I said, right up there, man, Walmart started. In 2 hours, I could be at the very first Walton 5 and Dime. And had to pause for a second. A couple people walking by looking at me like I was a weirdo. Little do they know. But yeah, like I said, I don't know if Walmart's invaded your area yet. But it's funny now. You look at Amazon, things like that. It's online shopping doing the Walmart, what Walmart did to all the mom and pop stores. Hurting them. But it's odd. This area of the state I live in, within an hour of me, you have Walmart, which at one time was the largest retailer in the world. 5 minutes down the road was Tyson Food, the largest production of chicken in the world. And also between those two was J.B. Hunt, largest trucking company in the world. All in this one little section of Arkansas. So just to give you an idea about this area. I mean, of course, you look out here behind me. Still live in the natural state, obviously not a city boy, but make sure it gets in the view. Nuclear power plant. Okay, so I hope I covered everything you talked about and gave you some kind of topics. I'm trying to, give you a feel of where I'm at, kind of where I'm coming from, so we can kind of understand each other. Well, this has been a rambler. All right, I'm just going to end it here before I just go completely off the rails. Talk to you later.